Unbox Newbies Adventure is a colorful 3D platformer that puts you in a tropical setting where all the sentient beings are boxes. In this quick review, I'm going to talk about the different aspects in the game, from the gameplay to the controls and more. You play as a box whose special ability is being able to jump multiple times in the air by using boxes. And while that sounds pretty standard, if you have 6 boxes then you can jump 6 times. And I'm sure you all know that when you're close to finishing a platforming segment, a lot of times you might lose. That's just how it is. But if you're about to lose here, then you can just use those boxes to go back. Some people might say it makes it too easy, but in my opinion, I think it just makes it less annoying. And if you want it to be more difficult, then just don't use the boxes. You can also interact with the environment a little and use some vehicles. As for the controls for the cars, it's pretty much unbearable. You use both of the thumbsticks to drive. One of them is actually moving, the other one is to turn the direction, and this does not work well at all. I wish it was the trigger is to drive. You use R2 to drive forward, R2 to drive backwards, and you use the left analog stick or thumbstick to move your direction. The controls are really just so bad for vehicles that you will not want to use the vehicles. You'll rather just jump or walk across the island. The controls for the protagonist are a little slippery, but it barely affected the gameplay for me. The platforming feels old and new at the same time. The physics feel right as you're walking as a box, and the platforming might not be that difficult most of the time, but if you like games such as Banjo-Kazooie, I think you'll like it since the platforming is very creative and it's genuinely just fun. Unbox borrows a lot of elements from Nintendo 64 collectathon platformers. The collectibles were in appropriate places most of the time, and I never had to go too far out of my way to get the collectibles, which was very refreshing. Many games wanting you to completely stop what you're doing just to go from your location to the collectibles location, which you don't even know where it is. The main thing you have to collect are stamps. You collect stamps by completing various tasks that never feel repetitive, from delivering a package within a limited amount of time to rescuing boxes from the antagonist gang known as the Wild Cards. The Wild Cards are a quirky group that tries to rain havoc on the postal service, and it is a platformer, so obviously the story isn't the main thing in the game, but I found it interesting to find out more about the Wild Cards. The soundtrack in Unbox gets everything right. The songs are tropical and upbeat, which perfectly matches the theme of the game. Speaking of the theme, there is so much to explore in the tropical setting that chances are you won't find everything and speak to everyone. Unbox Newbies Adventure is a fun 3D platformer that I would strongly recommend to any fans of the genre. I give Unbox Newbies Adventure an 8 out of 10.